Hey guys, this is Oventis, and in today's video I will be talking about things that I don't like doing in my art that other YouTubers or artists do and stuff. Roll the intro. Alright, so first of all, I would like to say that the reason why I'm making this video is not because I think there is anything wrong with doing the things that other artists do, but because, you see, you should do things however you want to do them, and especially in art. But when I hear a lot of artists, like different artists, talking about things, like it sets a mindset in the viewer, in the listener, and it makes you think that these things are okay, or that these things it's rather that these things are how you should do things. And I don't think that's okay. As I said, you should do in art whatever you want and however you want to do it, and don't listen to other people. So, to start the list, the first thing that just bothers me when I hear it is that when people are afraid to start their sketchbook and to draw on the first page. Like, what? Like, that is the best part of a sketchbook. Finally put your hands on your sketchbook and you open it and you sniff it, and it's like, it smells of just artsy potential, and I just can't wait to make this sketchbook my art slave for the rest of eternity, or like the few years I will be drawing in them. It's like when you see virgin snow on a field and you just want to step on it, you know, like this feeling. And I don't know, maybe there are some times when I plan out my first page in my new sketchbook, but you know, that's like, you shouldn't fear it. Like why? Like, I think that this thing just started in a lot of people because they heard it from so many artists. But otherwise, like, people, it's not a big thing. Another thing about sketchbooks that I hear a lot is that they are for experimenting and doodling and doing whatever. And at some point, or like in some sense, I agree with it, but I don't think that you should just use your sketchbook for, like, I don't know, 5-minute doodles. Like, maybe for a few pages it's okay, it's perfectly fine to, you know, sometimes to warm up, or also I don't usually do that, but you know, like, if you want, just use some pages to warm up, to try a new technique, or to do what I really enjoyed, by the way, as a side note. Recently I did that, you know, like 10-minute, 1 minute, 10 seconds challenge, or what that was, and it really motivated me to continue using my sketchbook, because it just filled the page in like 10 minutes, and it was like a nice thing to look at. But I don't want my sketchbook to be all doodles. I rather want to use my sketchbooks to then later look back at my old drawings and see my ideas, like, I don't know, story ideas, illustration ideas, maybe some drawings that would be like great illustrations, but maybe at the time I didn't have the time or the energy or the skill to make them as cool as I could do them today, to execute them in a way I wanted. And this is why I personally have sketchbooks, or like doing sketchbooks, because I can just, you know, just put ideas in them there are some people who say that some artists want to make nice drawings in their sketchbooks because they are afraid what other people will say when they look at it. To me, that's just strange. Maybe because, you know, I'm not a student anymore, and like very few people actually see my sketchbooks. But even then, like back then when I was in school, I really enjoyed it when other people looked at my sketchbooks. They have never said things like, "Oh, this is not finished," or "Oh, I don't know, this on this drawing the anatomy is bad," or something. Or maybe they have said some things, but for the most part, the people who will see your sketchbooks are either not artists, or if they are artists, then they understand what it's like to have a sketchbook. Like, I don't know, for me, why I like to finish drawings in my sketchbook is because it's a part of enhancing your skills. Like, if you never finish drawings, then you will be only good at, you know, the sketching part. You will not be good at the rendering part. Even if you don't like finish all of your pages in a sketchbook, then please at least like some of it, the ideas that you really like, then you should do it. Another thing that just kind of triggers me are these like sketchbook tours where people have drawn like only a small thing on the paper. I don't know, it's just I cannot comprehend it, why like there are like empty space on the page. And okay, maybe it's just me, but I like feeling like every little place in my sketchbook, like everything. Or maybe I am not normal in a sense, or I have some OCD or something to fill my sketchbooks like completely. But you know, if you only feel like or if you only draw like small things in the corner of your sketchbook, then do you really feel like it's finished and in the end? Like, I don't think that gives that much satisfaction. But I mean, another thing is when the other thing that I understand is when people only draw on like one side of the page. In some of my sketchbooks, I do it because otherwise it would just ruin the whole thing. So I think that's all right. But in sketchbooks that are, you know, like book bound, and the pages just don't smush to each other, so the graphite is like not smudged all over it, then yeah, you should fill every little inch of your sketchbook, or maybe, you know, in an artistic way so that it looks like a whole filled page, but you know what I'm talking about. The next thing I want to mention is the theme or topic of art block. Like, I don't want to go really deep into it because there are like so many videos out there that you can learn about the, I don't know, a bunch of aspects of art block, how to overcome art block. Like, there are hundreds of videos out there. But what I want to mention is in a, you know, psychological standpoint, because I'm still a psychologist. I mean, I studied it at least. In a psychological way, do not label yourself as somebody in an art block, because maybe other artists who are cool do it, or something, and you want to be a cool artist as well, but it will not help. Like, if you label yourself that, okay, I am now someone in an art block, then maybe the next day you would be motivated to draw, you would have the inspiration to draw, but because you labeled yourself, you will not do anything, or you will not post, you will not do anything art related. And I think it's like, in a way, it's like toxic to yourself. So that is why I don't really like that there are so much attention to art blog. Nowadays, not really, but there were times when just everybody was talking about it, and it, in a way, it's like not healthy, you know. There are a lot of things that I have listed about sketchbooks. Like one thing is that sticking things to your sketchbook, like I don't know, like pictures and stuff for inspiration. It's a really good thing, and I just recently finished 2 of my sketchbooks. They were like they were small but like very thick ones, where those were my sketchbooks that I really liked, because I stuck a lot of things in them. I stuck like printed small pictures in them that I found inspiring, or I don't know, like napkins, and like the paper that, you know, candy is like comes in, and so like all sorts of stuff. And in a way I really liked it, because with those pictures I could like kind of make this like thematical or like inspirational, like, you know, like spreads in them. So it was really cool. But I would like to give you some pro tips about sticking stuff in your sketchbook. The first thing is pressed flowers. Like, they are really cool. They are like nice. I collected so many of them. But there was like this one flower that I don't know what species it was, but some sort of bug just started eating it. So what I did is just I took out all the pages where I stuck the flowers in, so they didn't hurt. I think it was that one specific flower, but the others, there were like no damage to them. But just in case, I just took them out, because, you know, and maybe after you finish that sketchbook and you will like put it on a shelf, and maybe like 5 years later you just look back on it and half of it is eaten by bugs, then that will not be a pretty thing to behold. So that is one pro tip. Another thing, like, what type of sketchbook should you use if you want to stick things in it? Because what I learned, if you have never done stuff like this, but it's just a simple thing, that use spiral bound sketchbooks, because if you stick things in them, there are still like space because of the binding. There's still space that can kind of expand from the page, so from one page to another. But with book bound sketchbooks, if you stick a lot of things in them, then the spine has a set size and the pages will just expand a lot, and it will not be flat anymore if you close the book, if you know what I mean. Yeah, this is just a pro tip. You can stick things in your sketchbook, but first think about it. Another thing about sketchbooks, I told you there will be a lot of it, is like sticking still but stuff on the cover. For me, it's just a personal thing, but I am really afraid that if I put anything on the cover, then, because I'm, you know, taking my sketchbook with me a lot, then it will just come off or like be damaged. So I think stickers are fine. So far they survive, but when I see people paint on their sketchbook covers, I'm just amazed, or like, but also frightened. Like, aren't those people afraid that after, like, you know, opening it, like touching the paint a lot and like putting it in your bag and like carrying it with you, that it will just fall off? Or is it just me? Do I think my art is too precious to be smeared off by physical forces and weather and your own skin and whatever? So it's just my thing. As I said, I don't think it's bad that people do it. To me, it's just an alien idea. Like, I don't want to paint on my sketchbook cover because it will come off. Or at least I am very afraid it will come off. One more thing, it is still in the sketchbook side. Like, I think that is the only thing that bothers me, really, how people treat their sketchbooks. But another thing is like the media you use in your sketchbooks. To me, is just strange that so many people are saying that they use alcohol-based markers, which is like, you know, I don't care, like, use whatever you want. But why do people say that water-based markers are bad? Like, maybe I just don't have that much experience with it, but my water-based markers are fine, and I mean, I kinda like using them. In general, I don't like using any markers, but if I have to choose, then I will stick with that one set of water-based markers. And also you can like mix them with like watercolor pencil, and maybe, I was thinking maybe people don't like that they streak a bit, at least some colors for me. But like, you have all the other stuff that you can kind of control it with. For example, Photoshop. Yeah, and I also have only one set of water-based markers, and they are in the color of Rakan and Zaya from League of Legends. Well, obviously they are like, I think it's a set that is designed to color flowers with, but they are exactly the colors of those two characters from League of Legends, aka Rakan, my baby. The gist of what I want to say is that use whatever media you want in your sketchbook, or that, you know, it like in a smart way, so that if something damages your sketchbook, then don't use it, obviously. Another thing that about using whatever media is that when an artist says in the video like 50 times over what high-end art supplies they are using. Like, I think they are saying it so that people in the comments don't ask them all the time. For all these years I've been doing art, I think the media I used the most was like this one or two graphite pencils with one eraser, or maybe a mechanical pencil, but you know, and like two graphites in different hardness or something. But I am just against the idea that you have to have high-end art supplies to make good art. Like, no, you just have to study a lot and practice a lot. And on the side note about high-end art supplies and stuff, I went ahead and bought a Moleskine sketchbook, like this like art collection thing. Usually when I buy sketchbooks, I either buy like cheap ones or I make them myself, but they started selling it in my town, and I have a salary now, and I was like, maybe I will just try it, see why people say it's good. So far I'm on like the second page, and the paper is like really nice and it's really smooth. I haven't tried other media than pencils yet. I'll just update you guys. You know, maybe a bit of fancy stuff never hurts. As I said like enough times already in this video, just do what you want to do. And also, to end this video, I also want to talk a bit about what you can see on the screen. It is also a drawing I did for, I think, Mermaid 2019 or 18. I'm not sure. my thought process behind the drawing. You know, I had like some sort of pose in mind, and I kind of wanted to make this like warrior fish. And what I learned that in English you also say that it's a fighting fish, like it's the species like name or something, which is really cool because in the end I managed to draw a literal fighting fish, like a night fish, and I think overall the colors came out pretty okay. I'm really glad that I used reference for the armor. Like, okay, I changed it up a bit here and there, but what I see right now after like a year or two is that the gorget area, or whatever you say, so the neck armor, is a bit like strange on him maybe, but overall I'm kind of happy with this design and how this turned out. And since then I made a bookmark of this drawing that some people buy at conventions. This makes me think that I should do something with my Gumroad shop, which you can visit on Gumroad if you search for Aventis, or like link in the description or something. Okay, you know what? I think this was it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.